What if I told you that continuing to work could actually cost you more than retiring? We have three main resources in life: our time, our health, and our money. When you're younger, you have an abundance of time and health, and you're more than happy to trade this away for money. But as you progress through life, your time and your health will start to become your most valuable and most limited resources. There will come a time where it actually costs us more to keep working than it does to retire. But how do we know when that time might be? In today's video, I'm sharing with you 6 reasons why it might be time for you to retire. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Tom. I'm a financial planner, and I'm here to teach you how to maximize your freedom without the stress of money. So let's get straight into reason number 1, time. Now, we all know that time is our most valuable resource, but let me put that into perspective to help you truly grasp just how precious it is. As we go through this, think about how you can apply this to your own life. These circles represent 90 years of life. I'm currently 38, and with the average life expectancy in the US being around 80, that leaves me with just about 42 more summers or 42 more Super Bowl Sundays. But here's where it really gets me when I think about my parents. I'm fortunate that both of my parents, they're still alive, they're both healthy, but they're in their late 60s. We only see each other 5 times a year, maybe for a few days at a time, so that's about 10 days a year. Now let's think about it. How many more days do we actually have left together while they're still fit and healthy? Maybe 50, maybe 60. And if you look at it from a parent's point of view, once your kids move out, you've already spent 90% of the time you'll ever have with them in person. For my parents, that means we might only have about 5% of our time left. Now, I know this might sound a bit depressing to think of life this way, but I encourage you to really think about it because this perspective forces us to focus on what's truly important in life and how much time we're actually giving to those things. And if this realization makes you uncomfortable, that's a good thing. It means you're in control and that you can take action now to make more time for what matters most instead of just coasting along, unaware of the real cost of those extra years spent working. I've worked with many people who retired later than they originally planned. They delayed retirement and they were thinking they had all the time in the world. But tragically, within a couple of years, or sometimes in just a couple of months after retiring, some fell ill and a few even passed away. Yes, you have to be financially prepared, but once you are, the longer you delay retirement, the less time you have to enjoy it. The key is finding that balance. Not everyone can retire early, but once you're financially ready, remember, time is more valuable than anything. It's the one thing you can never get back. Reason number 2, health. Now picture the average person who's just a few years away from retirement. They've spent 40 years grinding, working overtime, raising kids, paying off the mortgage, all the usual life responsibilities. By the time they reach retirement, many of these people are overworked and frankly burnt out. It's a common picture, right? Someone who's stressed out to the max, but just barely hanging on. And here's the problem. All that stress carried for years can take a serious toll on your health. We often hit our peak earning years at the same time as our peak stress years. The demands of your job aren't just taking up your time, they could also be costing you your health. And here's the thing, once your health slips beyond a certain point, it can be really hard to get it back. The last thing anyone wants is to retire only to be unable to enjoy it because their health is holding them back. So it might be time to start thinking about retirement not just as a financial decision, but as a health decision too. If your work is taking away your time and impacting your well being, retirement could give you a chance to reclaim your health. You'd finally have the time to focus on taking care of yourself, exercising, eating right, and actually enjoying this next chapter of your life. Reason number 3, your best years are limited. Many people, let's say they're age 60, think they have another 30 years ahead, expecting to live to age 90. And 30 years sounds like a long time, but not all of those years are created equal. You'll have far more energy, health, and freedom to do what you want between the ages of 60 and 65 than you will between 75 and 80. So yes, you may have 30 years of lifespan, but how long is your health span? How many of those years will you be able to live the way you want, full of energy and capability? A lot of people who are financially ready to retire still say, I'll keep working until age 70 so I can maximize my Social Security benefits. I want to save a little bit more. I'll still have time after that. But here's the catch. Your best years might be right now from 60 to 65, and these could be the years when you're at your healthiest and most able to enjoy life. Sure, 65 to 70 can still be great, but things might start to slow down a little. And while your 70s and beyond can bring wonderful moments too, the reality is that quality of life often starts to decline as time goes on. So when you're thinking about retirement, remember that while you might have 20 or 30 years ahead, they're not all going to be equal in terms of health and energy. If you work a few more years, those might be the best years of your life, but spent behind a desk instead of truly living. Reason number 4, focus on relationships. Think of the average working person working 40 to 50 hours a week. They're commuting back and forth to work, running the kids around, we're running errands, and just doing everything that needs to get done. But how much quality time is left for your family and friends? I know some people love their work. I love my work, but there needs to be a balance between doing something you love and make sure it's not holding you back from the things that matter, like your relationships. I often hear people say, I just don't have the time to stay in touch, call my parents, or call my children because work is too crazy and demanding. Well, if you're at the point where you financially don't need to work, ask yourself, what's it costing you in terms of relationships? Is it eating up all your time and energy that could be spending with the people you care about the most? If that's the case, it might be time for you to retire. Reason number 5, work identity trap. It's hard to spend 30 or 40 years in the workforce and then suddenly out of the blue decide, I'm ready to retire. Work becomes a big part of who we are, even if it's affecting our health or adding stress. The thought of stepping away from what you've always known can be intimidating. But if you're working just for the sake of working, that comes with a huge cost. If you are financially stable, whether from your investments, maybe you're taking Social Security, you have a pension, or other income sources, there's no need to keep working if it's no longer fulfilling. Continuing to work simply because it's familiar or because you don't know what you'd do without it can seriously become a real issue. Now, don't fall into the trap of working just because it's what you've always done. Work should support your vision of an ideal life, not define it. It should never come at the expense of everything else that matters, like your health, relationships, and time. You deserve more than just working for work's sake. Reason number 6, stronger financial position. You are probably in a much stronger financial position than you think. Many people overestimate how much they'll actually need to spend in retirement. For example, if you're 60 and estimate needing $50,000 per year to maintain your lifestyle, you might assume that over 25 years, you'll need 1.25 million. And that's a big number, and it can feel overwhelming. But the reality is, retirement spending doesn't stay the same over time. In fact, it typically follows a smile pattern. Higher spending in the early years, when you're more active and it's the go-go years, less in the middle, the slow-go years, and then potentially more later on due to higher healthcare costs. So this means that instead of needing 1.25 million, you might actually spend closer to $900,000. And if you have Social Security or a pension, a good portion of that is actually already covered, leaving with a much smaller amount to be funded by your investments. So if you've been putting off retirement because you think you're not ready, you may actually be in a better position than you realize. As we've explored today, time, health, and finances are all interconnected when it comes to making the most of your retirement. The truth is, life is short, and not all of our years are created equal, whether it's reclaiming your best years, prioritizing your health, or realizing you're in a stronger financial position than you think. The key takeaway is this. Don't wait too long to live the life you've worked so hard for. You deserve to spend your time on what truly matters, with the people you care about most. So take action now, reevaluate your situation, make a plan, and start thinking about how you want to spend the next chapter of your life. Thank you all for watching. If you found this video helpful, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one.